Heute ist ein besonderer Tag an unserer Schule, denn heute heißt es GiL goes to space. In knapp einer Stunde werden wir einen Live-Funkkontakt zur internationalen Raumstation aufbauen und unsere Schülerinnen und Schüler zusammen mit einer weiteren Schule aus Niedersachsen werden live Fragen an einen Astronauten auf der Raumstation stellen, die dieser dann beantwortet. Das Ganze funktioniert natürlich nur dann, in dem Moment, wo diese Raumstation auch, die umkreist ja die Erde sehr schnell, und in dem Moment, wo sie quasi über Europa hinwegfliegt, das ist dann nur ein Zeitfenster von knapp 20 Minuten, hat man überhaupt die Chance, so einen Funkkontakt aufzubauen. Das Ganze ist seit einem halben Jahr intensiv vorbereitet worden. Es ist natürlich technisch auch anspruchsvoll. Wir müssen eine Funkverbindung zur Raumstation aufbauen, eine Telefonverbindung mit der anderen Schule. Das Ganze wollen wir dann auch per Livestream bei YouTube ins Internet spielen und ihr seid live dabei.
Ich begrüße euch ganz herzlich. Wir sind gerade dabei, Kontakt zu Eutin aufzunehmen und hoffen, dass das jetzt gleich gut klappt. Ich schaue gerade zum Herrn Henning rüber, ob er von drüben schon was hört. Ihr werdet gleich unten im Bild auf jeden Fall immer den Stream aus Eutin auch sehen und dann werden wir wechseln zwischen unseren Schülerinnen in Groß und den Schülerinnen aus Eutin in Groß, je nachdem wer gerade eine Frage stellt.
OR4 ISS, Oscar Radio 4, India Sierra Sierra. This is DK0 Oscar Hotel from Eutin calling. Over. Yes, now we can copy you. Good signal, Ace. I immediately pass over the microphone to the first student. This is DK0 Oscar Hotel.
What exciting experience fascinated you the most during your stay on the ISS? Over.
There are so many experiences up here that are incredible. Just being weightless, being able to fly freely, float up here is an incredible experience. Also looking out of the window at our beautiful planet and seeing all the different parts of the Earth. That's also an incredible experience. Over.
Could you highlight a discovery that emerged through research conducted on the ISS? Over.
There are many examples. One example that I've been involved with is a study of giant lightning strikes that shoot upwards from the top of thunderclouds out towards space. They're called blue jets and red spikes because they're blue or red in color. And on my last mission in 2015, I caught a blue jet as it pulsated on video, and it's the first time that we've seen a blue jet like that on video. Over.
We have a short project where we launch a weather balloon. Can you see a weather balloon at 40 kilometers altitude from the ISS? Over.
That's a good question. I think it depends on how big the weather balloon is. Now, I don't know if it's big enough and if it's colorful enough so that it can contrast against, for example, white clouds, then we might be able to see it. Over.
Do you conduct experiments in space from the ISS? And if so, what was the most exciting experiment? Over.
We have a lot of interesting experiments up here. Last week I was working on an experiment to study how brain cells, human brain cells, age in space. I was also working on a 3D printer that can print human tissue, and we were trying to print a small model of a human heart up here to understand if that's possible in the future. Over.
Is there any muscle degradation due to weightlessness in space? And if so, what are the symptoms and countermeasures? Over.
There are a lot of things that happen to your body in weightlessness, including loss of muscle mass and loss of bone mass because you're not using your muscles and you're not using your bones when you're free floating. It takes no energy and no muscles to float in space, and so your body starts to get rid of what it doesn't need. And in order to prevent loss of muscle mass, we have to exercise every single day for 2 hours. We have a bicycle, we have a treadmill, and we have a strength exercise machine where we can do all sorts of exercises to strengthen our muscles. Over.
How do astronauts treat illnesses or medical emergencies while they're in space? Over.
So it's part of our training to learn how to react to medical problems or emergencies in space. Some of my colleagues are designated the crew medical officer, so they get extra training, even though we're all trained in first aid and advanced life support. And then we have a lot of different medicines up here, so in case we get sick, hopefully we can treat whatever happens. Over.
Is the time different in space than on Earth? Over.
Yes, there's no natural time zone in space. We orbit the Earth with a speed of 28,000 kilometers an hour, which means it only takes 1.5 hours to fly once around the Earth. In other words, in 24 hours, we see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets. So there's no natural day-night rhythm. And so to have a time zone, we just choose Greenwich Mean Time up here, but we could have chosen any time zone to use. Over.
Does your voice change due to weightlessness or muscle loss when you stay in the ISS? Over.
Voice doesn't change due to weightlessness, but voice changes due to atmospheric pressure. So when we go on spacewalks and we go outside, we're working at a pressure of about 1/3 the Earth's atmospheric pressure. And there you can hear our voices change because of the lower pressure. Over.
How do astronauts spend their free time in space? Over.
Well, we don't have a lot of free time, but the free time that we do have, we can use to call home and talk with our families and our friends, write emails, look out windows, take pictures. Most astronauts, me included, we love to sit by the windows and take photos and share the photos with the public. We can also watch TV, movies, read books, anything really. Over.
How would you describe the dynamics and relationships among astronauts aboard the ISS? And did you know your colleagues before the mission? Over.
Well, we have a great crew up here. We are 7 astronauts on board the International Space Station, and we get on together really well, probably because we knew each other before the mission. It takes at least a year and a half to prepare for a mission, and during that year and a half on Earth, we trained together in Houston, at the European Astronaut Center in Cologne, Germany, in Japan, and also in Russia. And so we get to know each other really well before the mission. Over.
What do you miss most from Earth in space, and what will you miss most from the ISS on Earth? Over.
Of course, I miss my family, but in addition to that, I miss small things like being able to open the door and step outside and feel the warmth of the sun, feel the breeze, smell the grass and the leaves, things like that. I also miss a warm shower, and I miss some good food as well. Over.
How do you feel when you look out of the window to the Earth and think of your family living there? Over.
Seeing the Earth from space is one of the most incredible experiences that we have. It's very, very impressive to see our beautiful planet. When you look down at the Earth, you see that it looks very peaceful, very quiet. You get a feeling of serenity. And you also realize what a unique place the Earth is. There's nothing that in any way resembles the Earth anywhere close to us. And so we realize we have to take care of the Earth because not only is it our home, but it's our only home. And if we destroy the Earth, we have no other options. Over.
How have your expectations regarding your work on the ISS changed compared to initial thought? Over.
Well, one of the challenges of working on the ISS is weightlessness. There's no real way to train weightlessness on the Earth because gravity is always present. When we train spacewalks, we can do it underwater because we use the buoyancy force of the water to compensate for our own weight, but it's not really the same thing as being weightless. So it's not until we actually get up here that we learn how to cope with weightlessness and all the challenges that arise from everything floating. Over.
What are the main differences between training underwater and actually living in space, even though both conditions are weightless? Over.
Well, the big thing with training underwater is that there's water drag. It takes a lot of force to move underwater. But up here in space, it takes no force at all. Just a small little push, and you're floating quickly down the space station. But it also brings a lot of challenges. Everything floats. Your tools, your screws, anything you're working with floats, and if you're not careful, it floats away and gets lost very quickly. Over.
Don't you miss just sitting down there and does the weightlessness get annoying sometimes? Over.
Weightlessness gets annoying when things disappear because, as I said before, things have a tendency to fly away and get lost. But otherwise, I don't really miss gravity that much. It's nice to be free floating up here. Over.
What is your biggest fear during a mission? Over.
Well, I think my biggest fear is not coming home to my family again. There's always a risk with traveling into space. So that's probably my biggest fear. Over.
Hello, my name is Tobias and I'm the coordinator, and this is our last contact to you. It was the best experience in my life, and I think so for the most of the people here in our school in Eutin and in Marl. And we want to say you a big, big mange tak! Thank you very much, and come safe back to on Earth. Thank you very much. Over.
Ja, ich bedanke mich dann bei allen die Schülern und Lehrern, die sich in dieses Projekt eingebracht haben und es Gott sei Dank auch zum Erfolg geführt haben. Ich wünsche allen noch einen schönen Tag.